No turning back. The morning of surgery, I was apprehensive to say the least. I had only seen my oncologist for days before, and the decision was made to strengthen my right femur by implanting a titanium rod. My tumor had completely destroyed the head of my femur, and the possibility of fracturing my femur was a distinct possibility at this point. Having this rod placed within the confines of my femur in order to give it a fighting chance of healing was the only way to avoid suffering a difficult fracture. I was a practicing surgeon until a few months before this tense day came about. I'd seen a lot of surgeries, so you'd think I'd have steely nerves. But the opposite was true, and it was causing me a lot of anxiety deep down inside my psyche. I was on the verge of bursting into tears emotionally, most likely because my cancer had only been discovered a few weeks before, and it had only been a few months since I had begun to experience a steady decline in my health. I was in such a hurry. It was like rushing head-on into a stand of trees at 100 miles per hour while wearing no protective gear. It hit me hard the morning of my surgery, and I couldn't shake it. To put it mildly, I was terrified to death at the time. My thoughts were racing between whether or not I should proceed with the surgery, and whether or not I should cancel it. I was in a state of near panic, but I managed to keep it hidden from view deep within myself. I kept asking myself, what if I just stopped this whole drama and let myself die? How long would I be able to live until I was no longer salvageable? Is it a week or a month? I was perplexed. Afterwards, I found myself in the operating room's prep area, going through the motions of preparing for surgery. My mind raced to find a way out of the situation, but I couldn't come up with any. The doctors came in and went over the procedure with me. I felt very comfortable with them. What I heard was a jumbled mess of gibberish. There was nothing that sounded like English or another foreign language. Nothing made sense, except for the fact that I knew I had to go through with the procedure or else I'd end up in a wheelchair. Or worse, dead. My options became increasingly limited, and the pace of my world slowed. Going into the operating room, I was doing everything I could to calm my mind and allow myself to be sucked into an unfamiliar world without a struggle. I was well aware that once I committed to this procedure, there would be no turning back. Despite my apprehension, my logical mind recognized that the procedure was necessary. I accepted that there was no way I could stop the inevitable, and I nodded off into that place where there was no particular place until I awoke in the recovery room where I prepared to face an unknown future. When I think back on that day, I can recall the extreme amount of fear that engulfed my entire body. I can also see how I was able to overcome my fear. It was at that point that I officially became a member of my healing team and accepted the necessity of extensive therapy. Surgeries, chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and other treatments. I gave myself the gift of being able to see another day full of possibilities. It would be possible for me to lay my head back on my pillow at night and say a prayer of gratitude for the opportunity to live another day.